So, welcome, Matthew Swatton. Thank you very much for joining me. Season's not too far away, but first of all, looking back to last year, you had a crazy season, didn't you?
Yeah, I agree. Especially going into cars for my first year, there wasn't a lot of expectation really from the team or my parents. So that year was before the year actually started, it was meant to just be a learning year, just get to grips with everything, get used to all the people around you. But somehow throughout the season, I just started progressing even more and more, and that bar just getting got higher and higher. So generally, it just it felt like the learning year was only like three quarters of the year, really, because towards the end I was in the top fives consistently. So yeah, it was a really good year.
Yeah, no, and it must be nice to see that progress. And you know you're getting somewhere when, you finish a bit lower down and you're disappointed with it. But, 3 or 4 races prior, you'd have been really happy with it. So you must have been able to see that progress nicely. And yeah, sort of by the end of the season, you were knocking at the door of sort of a podium and being in that top five and kind of setting you up nicely going into this year.
Yeah, agreed. It was quite odd because at the start of the season, if I came, I think it was at Thruxton, I came seventh and I was over the moon. But if we fast forward to Brand's last round and I came seventh, I wouldn't have been so happy, which is quite weird because it was only a few months back that I was over the moon with it. So I think that in itself just showed how much I'd progressed. So I think obviously that's the thing I'm really proud of from last year.
And then obviously with that, you got to the end of the season, had that great weekend on the Brands Hatch truck event, which is huge for any kind of driver taking part, but especially for a junior. And that must sort of set a nice sort of positive mindset going into the winter that you'd had a great year. You didn't have too many weekends that kind of went really badly, kind of Alton Park aside. So that must have been nice then going into the winter, have Christmas and have actually be able to enjoy a bit of time off.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was that year especially was we were very lucky in terms of failures and just mechanical failures generally. So I think it was we were lucky that year. But obviously this year we're expecting to be right at the front, and I'm expecting myself to be right at the front because I've not got an excuse of being a rookie driver anymore. But obviously I am expecting some chaos, but that's just motorsport generally.
Yeah, as the junior saloon cars, you expect it. I mean, obviously the off season it does drag on. You've now had a couple of test days, which is good. So it must have been exciting for you to get back in the car, and I'm intrigued to sort of hear about how those test days went.
Yeah, it was a nice off season, I think, but it just went way too quickly in my eyes. It was quite weird, but yeah, the testing. Well, I've done two so far, and I've got one more to go in our little program. And they've both gone really well. We've experimented with things that we may have not done last year, but as a team, I think we're doing astoundingly well.
Yeah, which is good. You're saying on your first test day back at Donington, you benefited because it was raining, because you were saying you hardly had any wet weather running last season, which for us now in the middle of February when we've had rain pretty much every day in 2026, it seems pretty alien. But that helps in testing to have all sorts of different scenarios so you can test different things out, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's quite good exploring with the setup as well in the way because obviously there are a few more things that you have to change compared to dry generally. So I think having a wet day was a lot better than just having multiple dry days for this year, especially because for all we know, this year could be a more wetter year than the dry year from last year. So it's just experimenting with different scenarios and just whatever happens, happens, I guess.
I'm sure you spent a decent amount of time sort of over the off season watching any racing that was starting back up again. Whether it be overseas or obviously then doing a little bit of sim racing. But I guess nothing's going to beat getting back in a real car again after a couple months out. So like I said, that must be nice. But did it take a few laps to get sort of back into the swing of things, or is it just sort of business as usual?
Yeah, I'd say it's half and half. It does feel like business as usual because I was only in the car in, November when I was at Donington. So it was kind of already preloaded into my brain because I've driven that car like quite a lot now. So I kind of know what to expect. But obviously in the off season, I'm not driving that car constantly, and I was mostly on the sim. So there was a few techniques that I was doing on the sim that I had to change in real life because obviously the sim and real life are a whole lot different.
Mm. But there's going to be little things and little habits, I presume, and it's only going to be quite small things, but still there are big differences between them. But the sim is still a really helpful tool and quite good fun as something to keep you entertained when you can't actually go racing. Because I was speaking to another driver about this the other day. It's easier said than done, just sort of booking a track day or a test day. So the sim you can do as many laps in whatever car, whatever conditions, whatever circuit, whenever you want, pretty much. So that's pretty helpful, isn't it?
I was going to say, yeah, exactly. You have the time to just go around any track you want that you've probably never visited in the world, and you can just go and have fun. Like with me and my mates from JSCC as well, like Max and Tom and all of that. We always just go on a circuit course and just go around, not killing British touring cars for fun. But obviously, it's not like we're racing those in real life. So it was just you can just do so much on the sim that you probably haven't done in real life generally. So yeah, it's good fun, but obviously you need to use it well if for what it's worth.
Yeah, for sure. Nice balance. With that, then, what's your favourite circuit you've actually raced in the juniors, and your favourite circuit that you've kind of raced in the sim in any other car that you've not actually visited or actually raced in real life? Because they're quite different, aren't they? All the UK circuits are different, but then you definitely can't compare it to, Bathurst or the Daytona Road Circuit. All of those things are quite interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say my favorite track that I've driven in real life in the Saxos would probably be Donington. And the only reason why I say that is just because naturally I feel like I'm quite quick around there, and I like the few corners going down the hill as well. That's good. But on the sim, if I had to choose, it would be, like you said, the Daytona Road Course, only
Yeah.
because I just did the 24 hours, I think it was only a few weeks ago,
Mm.
with Luna Rose Racing. So I think that was quite a nice combo with the road course and the GT3s together. So that would be a track that I'd definitely want to drive in the future if I had the chance.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the 24 hours is great. It's always something I follow as much as possible. I do go to bed. I'm not quite as committed as a lot of other people, but that's always great because it's a good way to start, the motorsport season, back in January. And I guess you doing sort of the virtual version of it, the 24 hours, that must have been fun. And was that something a bit different? I don't know if you'd done anything like that before. What was it like?
Well, I had previously done the Brit Car 24 Hours like E Series around
Mhm.
Silverstone back in it was early December, and that was my first ever endurance race. So obviously, doing the Daytona 24, I kind of already knew some of the principles about a 24 hour and like in terms of waking up for your stints, even though my dad was mostly aiding me on that one. Just being ready to get in the car in certain situations if someone bins it into a wall. So generally, it's a good experience, but I think you need to have the patience and just being calm when you've got LMP2 drivers smashing into your back end and giving you 5 minutes worth of repairs.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a different dynamic to 20-minute Citroen Saxo races at Alton Park. With that, then, just to finish off, we've said with sort of the big expectations for this season, it's going to be exciting. But does that give you sort of an extra sense of pressure in the sense that the learning year is kind of done now? So we all know what you want to be achieving, and you just sort of want to be getting out and cracking on now and getting on with it, I suppose.
I was going to say, if you don't feel the pressure, I don't think you're human generally. I think it's all right to feel the pressure. In myself, I know there will be pressure this year as well because obviously I'm not a rookie anymore, so I'm going for the top spot. But I learned to control like the pressure and just don't let it get over my head because the problem is if I do that, then all the results are just going to go to waste. I've just started a session with mind coaching generally, just to kind of ease off that pressure, especially this year as well. I've got GCSEs, so I'm just juggling between the two. So it's just quite involved in just terms of pressure generally. So I don't let it get to me because if I do, then it just all goes to waste.
Yeah, no, I get you. I mean, it's a lot to juggle, so I don't envy that, you having to do GCSE as well. Just to finish off, obviously it won't be too long before the opening round, which I'm looking forward to. It's always a good one. But whenever I do an interview like this on video call with a driver, I like to finish off with them. If you want to give a shout out or a mention to anyone, you're more than welcome to, because there's not always the opportunity to do this. And obviously, motorsport, there's a lot of people involved helping you out and that sort of thing. So if there's anyone you want to give a shout out to, now's your time.
I wanna shout out obviously my family for obviously backing me in this because obviously it's not a cheap sport. I wanna shout out my driver coach Ash Miller, which he's doing a fantastic job at the moment, trying to get me up to the front. And just Kersley generally, like Alex, Sheila, Harvey, and all the mechanics, they do an amazing job. They make sure we're all well fed, and they're just the nicest people in the world. I generally couldn't have had a better year last year with them. Just starting out as a complete, I don't know what I'm doing, kind of like rabbits in headlights, really. Like I didn't know what I was doing. And the Kersleys, obviously with Harvey racing in Junior Saloons the year prior, they kind of already knew everything. So it was kind of nice as a family team to kind of give that knowledge down to the people who don't know necessarily what they're doing. So just all of those people generally. And I'd like to shout out JSCC as well for doing a top job with judicials and just the racing generally. It is great.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have put it better myself. They are all great people to be involved with. I think it's going to be a brilliant year. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, I will see you at round one. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries, mate. See you then.